Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being and sustainable development on occasion of World Social Work Month and World Health Month 2022, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, and also International Conference on Social Work Sciences towards One Health and Sustainable Development in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Well-being. So, before we start our proceedings, let's take blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue today's proceedings. Today we have our guest, Kedareshwar Chaudhary ji. He is founder and change maker, Darbar Sahitya Sansada from Orissa. He is also a community social worker working on various community development programs, women empowerment, livelihood promotion, and so on. We invite you, sir, once again. We welcome you and thank you for accepting our invitation and joining us on this wonderful platform. And over to you, sir, on community participation in social work session.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir. I would extend my sincere thanks to the organization, sir, and whoever is organizing, the institutions who are organizing this workshop. मैं अगर बीच बीच में थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी में बोलूं तो चलेगा नहीं इंग्लिश में?
It's better because we have participants across India, south and north.
Yeah. Okay, I will try. Okay. My name is Kedar Chaudhary, and I head an organization called Darbar Sahitya Sansad. It's a local NGO in Odisha, and we are working in around 5 districts of Odisha, and we have a small team of 20 people. And our major focus of activity has been on livelihood generation for the women, both in farm and off-farm sector. In farm sector, we have agriculture and allied activities like dairy, poultry. So those kind of activities in farm sector, and we have also organic farming program. And in non-farm sector, we work, I will take around 5 minutes for my introduction and my activity, what I do. And in non-farm sector, we focus on craft cluster development across the state of Orissa. We have around 5-6 craft clusters we have developed and helped them in doing marketing, training, design development, and all kinds of activities. And most of the activities are focused on the women. And besides the livelihood promotion activity, we have a strong experience in disaster management. You might have heard in 1999, super cyclone came to Orissa, and after that, all the disasters like floods, cyclones, 8 cyclones, and more than 8 major floods have occurred after that. So, it's a continuous disaster striking to Orissa. So, we are very active in disaster management, doing relief, rehabilitation, reconstruction, disaster risk reduction, community-based disaster preparedness. We have been doing all the programs in Orissa. And besides disaster management, we have a strong presence with the migrant workers. Like migrant workers from as a source area from our area, Puri, Khurda, the coastal belt of Orissa, we used to know that from tribal and the western parts of Orissa, people migrate due to food security issues. But after these cyclones, floods, and all this natural calamity, the coastal Orissa people also started migrating 20 years back, and it is increasing trend. It is an increasing trend, and it is increasing day by day. So migrant workers problems we try to solve both at source and destination level. So that is another portfolio. And child protection is also women, as we do women development, and the child protection is ancillary to that. We do little bit of child protection activities, mostly by doing with the liaising with the government. And sexual violence against women, it's a portfolio we have started 3 years back, because we are mostly involved with the livelihood promotion of the women, but the sexual harassment part, the gender justification, the gender mainstreaming, those kind of activity with the women also we do. These are mainly the major activity we do. 4-5 districts we are working on that. And regarding my personal experience, I have done MCOM and then MSW. Then I have done a diploma in planning and management. So these are my personal things, and all these activities has happened over my 25 years of journey. I have added these degrees during my studies. I did MCOM and then jumped to this sector. And after that, I have did MSW and other things I have done while doing my work. So this is my experience. And what I will discuss regarding the community participation for sustainable development is based mostly on my experience of last 25-30 years of experience in working with the communities. And it is not a bookish knowledge, it's not a theoretical knowledge, but my experience, basing on my experience, what I have felt understood by working with the community, I will share. Should I continue?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay. I have chosen this topic, that community participation for sustainable development. I need not to define all these things like community, like participation or sustainable development. I need not to define as a development professionals or development, the people linked with the development sector. All we know what is the theoretical or that connotation we know, but the major thing is, as a social worker, I am a social worker. And when as a social worker, when I try to understand these words, community means I understand the targeted community, because community means it can be general community, but we are working with the targeted community. Suppose we are working for the poor. Some people are working for the tribals. Some people are working for the disabled persons. Some people are for women, some are for children, some are for beggars. Like all these categories are targeted communities for our kind of social intervention. As a social worker, we have to see from that lens that my community is the women. Suppose I say my community is the poor women, and I am trying to develop their economic empowerment. So these are the communities we work. So when we work in the with the community, we should be very particular about that, whether we are working for the women or children or disabled. But in the general scenario of a small NGO, you will find that most of the small NGOs they are working with different aspects. Sometimes it's a critical question that you are working for everything, but that is most of the time I find that that is a survival technique, because NGOs are non-profits. They depend on the funds from the government and from other sources. When there is a scarcity, when there is a disruption of these funds, it is very difficult to maintain their NGOs, to pay their staff, to pay their administration. So all these things, because of that, some people opt for here and there, this thing, that thing, that thing. Otherwise, major central focus is on one aspect. Like I said, the economic empowerment of the women, for which we are working. So that is there. And then comes the participation. Participation, why participation is required for a sustainable development? Okay, let's talk about the sustainable development and then we will come to the participation. So what is sustainable development? As I understand that sustainable development, हिंदी में उसको बोलते हैं निरंतर विकास. निरंतर विकास में क्या होगा, क्या होता है, वो विकास का प्रक्रिया निरंतर लगे रहता है. But friends, there is a critical question. If you know from the childhood, we have learned that every institution, even if the human life, there is a beginning, there is a growth, and there is a death, end. So every institution is like that. There is a beginning, there is a formation, there will be normation, there will be performance, and there will be a death or the closure. But here in development, what we see, what we understand is there is no death, no end. It is sustainable. That means it takes another form where it continues, the process continues. So that is the sustainable development. And sustainable development is not end result oriented. Sustainable development is always process oriented, and it is based on the empowerment of the community, and it is based on the ownership of the community. And that is why participation is very much required, that for sustaining the process, for continuing the process without any external help, without any external assistance, then that continuation has to be, that development process has to be continued. And for that, the people are the key, because we are doing the development intervention for the people. And as we know, for the people, of the people, by the people. Like that development is that for the, if it is meant for the people, but it should be by the people and it should be of the people, like the involvement of the people, and it should be done by the people with the ownership. So that is participation. There can be active participation, there can be passive participation, there can be indifferent participation. But most of the government programs, we think that the participation is indifferent in the program, because people are not taken into confidence from the planning stage to the implementation stage. So that is why the people don't own it. Most of the programs, okay, it is a government program. If there is a loss, somebody is doing any damage to a government property, nobody raise a question, because they say it is a government property. People don't think that it is our property. When that sense will come with the people, then there will be ownership will come, and the people will manage it, they will plan it, they will implement it, they will see its results, and the leadership is also with the people. The leadership, people's leadership is also required, and there should be community mechanism through a community institution. So we always focus on community institution building, community leadership building, and community ownership. How to bring the community ownership into that, either to the asset, to the process, to the project, or whatever the intervention we are making. People should own it. And we have seen in a lot of my 25 years of experience that when the people don't own the process, own the system, it is not sustainable. It ends. When the supply ends, then the result ends. When the supply is continuous, till that the progress will come and the result will come. When the supply ends, then people don't own it, then there is no participation, That's why it's not sustainable. It closes. And it's a general feeling to the public that सरकार इतना खर्चा कर रही है, एनजीओ इतना खर्चा कर रही है, कंपनीज इतना खर्चा कर रही है, रिजल्ट कहाँ है? सब लोग पूछते हैं कि रिजल्ट कहाँ है, वेयर इज द रिजल्ट? बिकॉज इट इज नॉट विजिबल, वो दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है, बिकॉज लोग उसको ओन नहीं करते, लोग फील नहीं करते, अपने हार्ट में इसको फील नहीं करते, इसीलिए लोग बोलते हैं कुछ नहीं हुआ, कुछ नहीं हुआ, इतना हो गया लेकिन कुछ नहीं हुआ। ये दिस इज a negative feeling in the development of the people for which the development activities are targeted. So this is more or less that why participation is required for the sustainable development. So I always believe that in empowered participation, that is the key rather than program delivery. In most of the program we deliver the program. किसी को चावल बांट दिया, किसी को भत्ता दे दिया, किसी को राशन दे दिया, किसी को घर दे दिया, किसी को कहाँ पे रोड बना दिया। तो we always believe in the program delivery, how to deliver the programs. Most of the government and most of the NGOs also they do, but we don't care for the people's ownership and participation. Okay, you may say that in the government program also there is a social audit, so that community will participate in auditing. There is Panchayati Raj systems are involved. Then the decisions are made in the panchayat. So there is a people's participation. But I live in the village. I have seen the panchayats functioning. In practical, that is only the centrally coming schemes. How to implement it and how to make it, how to take the signature of the people and how to make it happen. So that is there. And friends, another aspect is that you have to look at the present scenario. What is the present scenario? Present scenario is the government, the state government, central government, everybody is after people by providing them freebies. फ्री में मुफ्त में बांटना है, चावल देना है, राशन देना है, ये देना है, वो देना है। तो ये जो फ्री में गवर्नमेंट ज्यादातर लोगों को देता है वोट पाने के लिए, इसमें क्या होता है, एक डिपेंडेंसी सिंड्रोम गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर लोगों को बढ़ जाता है। हम कम्युनिटी में काम करने जाते हैं, लोग पूछते हैं आप क्या लाए हो, आपको हमको देने के लिए आपके पास क्या है, हम क्यों आपके बात सुने, क्यों पार्टिसिपेट करें। So this is a real scenario in the villages, in the urban areas, wherever you go, in the tribal area, wherever you go, this is the real scenario. How to negate, how to offset that negativism. So that is a key challenge for the social worker. And so this is more or less what is the scenario. Then how to do it actually. What is the problem? We know the problem and how to do it. Then there are a few questions, key questions, that are we creating community institutions? हमारे काम में हम कम्युनिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन को क्रिएट करते हैं क्या, एसएचजी बनाते हैं क्या, एफपीओ बनाते हैं क्या, छोटे छोटे ग्रुप्स बनाते हैं क्या, चिल्ड्रंस का ग्रुप बनाते हैं क्या, उनका कम्युनिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन बिल्ड अप करते हैं क्या, आर वी नर्चरिंग कम्युनिटी लीडरशिप। ये बात मैं दोबारा बोल रहा हूँ, कम्युनिटी लीडरशिप चाहिए, जिसको विजन चाहिए, इसको आगे का 10 साल का दिखाना चाहिए, ये होना है। आगे नहीं दिखाएंगे तो क्या करेंगे। आर वी रिजॉल्विंग कम्युनिटी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स? हम कम्युनिटी में जाएंगे, हमारे पास एक प्रोग्राम है, इस प्रोग्राम को इम्प्लीमेंट करवाने तक हम उसमें उनके साथ लगे रहेंगे, हम भूल जाएंगे कम्युनिटी में क्या कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है, कम्युनिटी का क्या सिचुएशन है, कम्युनिटी का क्या खराबी है, क्या प्रॉब्लम है, व्हाट आर द हार्डशिप्स दे आर फेसिंग एवरी डे। हम भूल जाते हैं, we ignore those things. We try to implement our program there. So that is very difficult. That is very difficult. In that scenario, to gain the community participation is very difficult. We have to involve in their conflicts and try to solve their conflicts. Are we recognizing community interest aspirations? What community wants? एक महान व्यक्ति ने, किसी ने कहा था, as a social worker there are thumb rules like go to the people, live with them, learn from them, build on what they have. ये बहुत सही बात है, ये बहुत सही बात है, लेकिन बहुत दिन पहले ये बोला गया था। बट उसमें से एक चीज मैं बिलीव करता हूं, आई बिलीव इन बिल्ड ऑन व्हाट दे हैव। कम्युनिटी में है क्या, जो resources community में है, what are the resources with the community, what are the capacity of the community, what are the institution building process in the community, what are the scenario of the leadership in the community. We have to assess all these things and try to build on that. Because sometimes what we said that बिहार में वो चीज चल गया, उसको आके उड़ीसा में लागू कर देंगे, वो नहीं हो पाएगा, क्योंकि the situation in Bihar, situation in Odisha are different. The community situation are very specific situations. Their conflicts are very specific. Their problems are very specific. So we have to devise some mechanisms locally. Then the strategy has to be evolved from the local, from the community itself. We have to instigate them. We have to poke them. We have to try to प्रेरित करना होता है ना, उनको प्रेरित करना है, भाई ये प्रॉब्लम कैसे सॉल्व करेंगे, इधर ऐसे सॉल्व हुआ था, इधर ऐसे सॉल्व हुआ था, यहाँ पे हम कैसे करेंगे, यहाँ पे तो ये जो उनको मन में वो जगाना है, वो जगा के उनको सॉल्व करना चाहिए. कोई बोरोड आइडिया इज नॉट वेरी गुड, always evolved idea from the community is very good. इसके करने के लिए what are the characteristics of the social worker? Social work is a self-evaluator. Social worker is a self-evaluator. I always say that I assess myself. What characteristic I have? What capacity I have? What ideas and visions I have? So those things matter. When I go to the community, talk to them and try to build their confidence, try to build our mutual interest, our mutual trust and confidence. So that has to be taken care of. Suppose I have special characters. I sing very good songs. I go to the community, sit with the women, sing a nice song bhajan. Then the women are motivated little bit towards me. Then they will listen to me. I am a very good artist. I can do some art instantly. With a children group, I am sitting. I make them their art. So then show them. So what special characteristics we have? I am a good orator. I can speak loudly. I can speak very fluently. I can use my different stories, songs. Then those kind of things. I am a motivator. Actually, social worker. When I say I am a social worker. I am a motivator. I have to motivate the people. So by judging their attitude, their interest, and their aptitude also, I have to design my training methodology kind of thing, my intervention. Some behavioral skills I should have to intervene in the community. So that is, a social worker has to always, if I don't have that skill, I have to acquire those skills. You acquire first those skills. Then those skills, I will be very much acceptable to the community. Whatever I say, they will listen. And then they will start discussions. I always say, we are doers, we are not prescribers. We are not like doctors advising. We are like a doctor. We analyze the social problem and devise different strategies like medicines for that. But that has to be developed and that has to be continued with the community. So, so this is one. And as I already said that sustainable development, there are few characters I have noted that a sustainable development, when the development process continues without external support, the people will manage their support system and continue that process. That will benefit to many, benefit to the own community. Then they should have a own leadership, democratically elected leadership, and it is very, very difficult in the rural situation, urban situation now, because all politics, caste, religion, politically ideology divide them into different. So it's very, very difficult to bring a democratically elected leader and continue that. So then we depend upon the leaders, the natural leader, because we try here and there, but a natural leader comes out. if we provide a grooming ground, a natural leader will groom from a group, from a community. Natural leadership will grow. And we should not go for one leader. There should be a multiple leaders, a group of leaders. There should be there. One may lead them, but there should be a group of leader, a mechanism which can support the leader. So that should be there. Established institutions. You work for SHG, you work for FPO, you work for different groups. But institution has to be there. Some policy, some rules that should be there for an institution which will take care of this process. Proper plan and policies in the place. I said democratic values. Friends, it is also again very difficult. Democratic values, listening everybody, deciding for the best of the group. So that is also very challenging process, but we have to work on that. We have to continuously discuss with the group regarding that. Then equity and equality. Equity and equality. Everything is functioning very well. Financial performance is very good. Social performance is very good. But we lack equity and equality. Some people will be getting more benefit. Some people will getting less benefit. We have to look for that. And the Gandhi says like Antodaya, the last person has to be taken care of. The last person who is at the bottom of the pyramid, they have to be taken care of. So that is the sustainable development. If we take care of all these things and try to do this, maybe all is not possible in one day, but it takes time. It requires patience, and it requires a strong community leader to lead the whole process. And what are the hurdles? I have already talked about the hurdles. Political, ideological divide is there everywhere. It is now taking all the elections. Every 1 year there is election. Either it is a panchayat election or it is a state election. It is a this Nagarpalika election. The elections are continuous, and elections they create these communal disturbances and community level political ideological divide. So it creates disturbances. So that is a hurdle. Then excess dependency upon the government. I have already told that government is providing freebies, and these people are depending on this government, and everything they always want that suppose something will come from outside. So they are not going for the self-help, and our self-help movement, total self-help groups movement is totally failed because of all these subsidies, freebies, and all these things. It has failed. The groups are there performing well. Financial performance is very good, but this concept of self-help is not there. Everything is depending upon the government or any company or anything, whoever will come and give us. Then the corruption, friends, another thing, corruption is there. We have to look at that, how corruption is taking, it's a threat to our sustainable process. Then caste, religion-based violence, that is there. Remoteness of the case in case of tribal areas, remoteness, accessibility for while doing a development. You might have heard the people would say, suppose somebody is providing a telephone service, somebody is providing an internet service. These companies always says about the thresholds. Suppose in your area 100 people will be there, then we can provide the services. If the 5 people are there in a community in a distant place after 10 kilometers distance, then we will not be able, because our cost will be more. So they always think for there is a threshold population is required for providing their services. But in a welfare state, our government or our NGOs are always interested, always looking for the distressed people in the forest dwellers, and in the difficult situations. These people are there where accessibility is a problem. All these diseases are there. Services are not reaching properly. All sorts of corruptions are there. So these kind of, and another threat is there in Odisha also, our leftist Naxalism. So that is there. We are working in that area, but that is there. You have to cope with them. Otherwise, it is very difficult. It is very difficult in the process of sustainable development in tribal communities. It is a very potential threat. So these are the hurdles, and the solution I already said that by the people, by their leadership, by community cohesiveness, and in the community, if we find, okay, suppose we are doing a program, but we find that community is not prepared, let us do some investment in community preparedness. But unfortunately, in most of our government and the non-government program, unfortunately, community prepare, nobody is trying to spend or thinking over spending on the community preparedness, mobilization, community cohesiveness, participation. उसमें कोई खर्चा करना नहीं चाहता, वो बोलता है ये है, खराब है, तो खराब है मतलब ये वेस्ट है, इसमें क्यों खर्चा करेंगे, खर्चा तो ट्रेनिंग करेंगे, ट्रेनिंग में करेंगे, खाएंगे चले जाएंगे, ट्रेनिंग हो जाएगा, कम खत्म. Okay, this is community has to be prepared. Always there should be evolved strategy from the community rather than borrowed strategy, and community is the main, participation is the key, and we have to anyhow bring that participation. And my last remark would be the role of a social worker. We are a doctor, we are like doctors, we are like contractors, we are like supervisors, we are like nurses, we are like everything, but not as a prescription writer. We not prescribe, okay, the people come with their problem, we say you do that, you do that. It's not like that. We have to go to them, live with them we have to fight for the cause. So then the people will be faith on us, and we can work together. And there is I will end up with a small story. Because in nowadays there are a lot of stakeholders, lot of trainers, lot of workers, they work with the community, but most of the cases I find like they're prescription writers, they prescribe, and all bookish knowledge. Hello.
Yes, sir. Your video.
Yeah. Acha, video.
You can switch on your video and start. Continue. Yes, sir. You can continue.
Yeah. My last is that a small story I have listened from my teacher in my childhood, that he was narrating us regarding the in Odia we called it Bari Baigana and Puthi Baigana. Baigana means brinjal. He was narrating the difference between the brinjal from the field, which you can eat, but the brinjal from the book. The book, there is a picture of the brinjal. So that is the difference between the two brinjals. He was narrating a story. One day there was a river, there was a ghat, and there was a boatman. And one fine day, the boatman used to ferry the people from this side to that side of the river. And one fine day, one sadhu came. One sadhu, very learned sadhu came. And he said that, okay, I want to go to that side of the river, you take me, you ferry me to that side. Boatman agreed, and both of them were going in the river. And in the river, what happened? Two of them were there, nobody was there. The sadhu started the discussion. Sadhu said that, okay, hey boatman, acha, have you read Ramayana? Then the boatman said, no, sir, I have not gone to the school, so I have not read Ramayana or listened Ramayana. Then sadhu said, then that 25% of your life is gone because you don't know Ramayana. Then after some time he asked, hey, do you know Mahabharata? Then he said, no, sir, sorry, sir. I said, I have not gone to the school. I have not studied any mythological book or anything, so I don't know. Then the sadhu said, another 25% of your life is gone. Now 50% of your life is wasted, gone, because you don't know Ramayana or Mahabharata. Then after some time, then the rain came, the storm came. There was a rainy, बारिश आ गई. और बारिश के साथ आंधी आ गया। अच्छा, जोर से आंधी आने लगा, जोर से बारिश आने लगा, the wind was blowing very heavily. Then the boat was sinking. Then the boatman was trying to control the boat, and when it was beyond, it becomes more uncontrollable. Then the boatman asked to the sadhu, Sadhuji, now the rain has come, and we have to leave the boat now. In the mid river, we have to leave the boat. Then sadhu said, what to do? Then I will jump and I will swim. Do you know swimming, sir? Then the sadhu said, no, sir, I don't know swimming. No, I don't know swimming. Then this boatman said, then 100% of your life is gone. So my 50% life was gone. Now is your 100% of your life is gone. So always I learned from that time that always bookish knowledge is not always helpful until unless it is applied in the field. So I am very fortunate that I have worked 25 years in the field. I might not be having the research knowledge. I might not be having the database knowledge, but I am very clear about the community participation, community development. I am very fortunate. I have learned a little. There are a lot of vast things are there to learn. So I can't say that I have learned everything, but I am fortunate that I was in the field and I was working with the people. So that is my only submission. And the last take was that community participation is key for any development process, and we should always try to focus on that. So I will conclude here. I might have taken 45 minutes maybe. Thanks everybody. And if you have specific questions, that questions means I will answer from my feeling and my experience. It's not a very knowledge. Okay, thanks. I will invite questions. And if you, sir, if you have some observation or anything, you can tell.
It was an insightful session, sir.
Thank you.
Like we have lots of challenges. Like as you said, first thing is not owning the responsibility and not owning the outcome also, the achievement.
Yeah.
So, I mean, can you share any few case studies, sir, where initially there was not owning of responsibility, later of owning that, and achievement as well? Can you share few case studies or few instances where you have achieved in community that would help?
Yeah. So there are a lot of instances where when we first intervened with the community didn't believe us. Community didn't believe us that these people are coming and saying something. But they didn't participate. Like the women self-help group, when we started long back in 1990. Before 1990 also, in 1995 also we started forming the self-help groups when the concept was very new. The government, no government was involved in that. Only the NABARD was supporting. In 1990 they started supporting, but prior to that we started doing the self-help groups. And it was very difficult to go to the community. When I was very young, I was going to the women groups and I was finding very awkward. Like I am a boy, I am a gentleman. I was going to a women's group. So it was very difficult to identify with the group. The group was not listening to my words. Then we introduced a lady worker with her team. Then when we introduced our lady worker in the team, one change in our team, that we got very good result. That she will go inside their houses. She will involve herself to with the different day-to-day activities of their what are their difficulties. So then the women in the household, she believes or she builds a trust on this lady worker. Then whenever she calls a meeting, then the women they come out of their regular work and regular engagements. So that was a success by introducing a lady worker. Similarly, lot of and in another village, we were going to the village, talking to the people, and making a group for sanitation program. The people were not turning out. Neither the gents group nor the women group, they were not turning out. And there was actually, when we went for the sixth time to that village, we found that there is a why the people are not participating. Then we try to take some persons into confidence and try to understand what is the problem in that village. There was a one major problem in that village. There was a tube well. So that tube well, there was everybody was using that tube well, and the water, the excess water was going through a pass. It was passing by through a nala. That nala was passing by a common land, community land. After that community land, it was passing by a private land. When a private land has passed, that person, somehow there are a lot of conflicts in the villages. That particular person through which the entire nala goes, that person blocked that nala. When that person blocked that channel, then the entire water was just stagnant around that tube well. After 15 days, 1 month, nobody was able to use that tube well because it was stinking. There was a lot of flies, a lot of very unhealthy, unhygienic situation was created in that village. It was continuing since last 6 months. So we were doing a meeting, that was one part of the village, and this was happening in another part of the village. We never noticed it. So that was the major problem between, there were two factions in the village. When we have the meeting with one faction, other faction could not, they did not come. So then we found the problem lies there. We tried our best, convinced that person. A lot of things we did here and there from the government and from other things, and we solved that problem after working for 6 months in that village. When that problem got solved, then it took 1 year to start a very good sanitation program in that village. So that is why I am stressing very much that their conflicts, their problems, their situations, if you try little bit to solve their situation, their problem, then their confidence will build on you. Then the village is united. That was our motto. When the village is united, then they will support wholeheartedly to you. So that was our motto. We have become successful in that village, but it took 1.5 years. But in which government program, which donor agency program, they will wait for 1.5 years? They are time-bound programs. You do, or otherwise you refund the funds. But that community intervention, involvement, it is required. It has to be recognized also by everybody, by donor community, by the government, by the NGOs. You have to recognize that we have to do something for that. Maybe we have to reschedule our program. But some time, energy, money, manpower is required to invest in doing their ameliorating their problems. So that was one experience. There are a lot of experience in that. In tribal areas also there are experiences. Confronting with the Naxals, there are experiences. So a lot of experiences are there. So I think due to time constraint, I should stop.
I mean, we actually, if you can share some more time, you can contribute a few more case studies. Actually, we have a 2-hour session maximum. So
okay.
It's up to the speaker how much time he or she wants to take. But maximum time is 2 hours. So till 7:30, speaker has the freedom to utilize as much as time he or she requires. So
I was
you can.
I was informed that 1 hour, 5:30 to 6:30. I was informed like that.
Yeah, it was there. I mean, speakers generally don't take much time, but because you are more into community social work, so these are practical experiences which we don't get much to listen.
Yeah.
So maybe if you can elaborate on a few problems and what kind of solution and what were the challenges, that might be useful to few of us as per your availability. Otherwise, we
Yeah.
can conclude.
Yeah. I can some other time I can be prepared with another topic. I can be prepared, but right now after 6:30 I have other things, engagements and all. So another 10-15 minutes also I can take the questions and question answers, but uh, some other time I will discuss.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We will take up any queries from the participants. Participants, if you have any queries, you can put in chat box or raise your hand so that we can take up your query. Yeah, Mary.
Sir, actually, I'm hearing for first time about community social work because I had taken medical psychiatry. I don't know much about community, but I worked in HR field and all, but I have not worked in community. For me, it was a very takeaway session, sir. Lot of learning I learned because we hear about self-help groups and all, but we don't know what is self-help group. And after being 16 years also, we don't know how well, but you have really made it because we hardly get people with community social work background, especially in the city of Bangalore and all. Nobody takes up community social work. All go first for HR, second medical secretary because people don't know the local language Kannada, so nobody opt for the community development. Everyone first they give preference for HR only. So your is very different, and among all the sessions we conducted in this webinar also, I didn't see anybody is presenting community social work. So it is very informative. We want to listen to you more and more because we don't know so much now. So we want to learn more and more from you, sir.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. I will be. We
Because
can.
this community social work we are not getting anywhere in Bangalore also. I have not heard so much. I'm city in the city of Bangalore. I hear only HR, medical hospital. A lot of people are there to give talks about different diseases. Medical is very much, and HR also is very much. But community go means nobody's ready to go to the take that specialization. Only nobody's coming, and to like persons like you giving talk also is very less. I also gone to a lot of conference in the ISPSW, NIMANS, everywhere, but I don't get people presenting on community. They present either medical, they present general topic, or they'll present HR related. General topic, they will take gender sensitization, women's problem, like that. General, they will finish it off. But community, you taken no, sir, that we want more session. For me, it's a very mind blowing, sir. I learned first time what is community from you only.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Whatever my experience I have, I can design another program.
Actually, in this webinar also, I didn't hear anyone speaking community. And the conference I attended also 16 years. I'm this July 1st, I'm entering into my 16th year of profession. I also didn't hear so much community experience. It's a very mind blowing for me. More than doubts, I'm very astonished of you. How much work you're doing this 25 years means it's really credit. Hats off to you, sir. You've done
Thank you very much.
200% justice. We learn to hear more and more sessions, sir. Then all the best for your life and all the best for your uh, other talks and everything, sir.
Thank you. Thank
And
you. Thank you.
hope you give your time for us any other day also, so we can.
Yeah. I will. Pleasure. It's my pleasure. I can explain. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Anyone else would like to have any observation, comments, or queries? You can raise your hand. Or you can put it in chat box. Okay. Then what we'll do is you can also put your queries in the feedback form if any. Because of paucity of time, we shall conclude this session. And we thank you, Kedareshwar Chaudhary ji, for joining
Thank you
us.
very much, sir.
It
Thank you
was
very
a
much inviting
pleasure.
me, sir.
Because what happens is when we are also teaching, we are also doing practice. Most of the time, community social work, very less organizations are working in community, and most of the community. The unfortunate thing is, the most of the community workers are not MSW. So they are working in community in social work area only, but they do not have this social work qualification. So due to which now there is a lot of gap where we were not able to invite them, and even if we invite them also not at an academic level. I mean, whenever we go to community, we invite them because community participation is required, and without them we cannot do community participation. So in that obligation, we sometimes have to invite them. Otherwise, in academics, I mean, in institutions and all, because they don't have proper qualification, but they are more experienced. I mean, they have many people, I know also here, many people who have 40, 50, 60 years of experience from the moment they completed SSC or 10th, I mean, 10th or 12th or even UG also. They joined immediately community work, even without any formal education also. People are doing wonderful community work. In fact, there is a lot to learn from these community workers, grassroots level workers. They know a lot of things. In spite, we take a lot of inputs from them to present papers or to teach them, and we send social workers to them to learn from them. Many times, the trained social workers or social work students also find difficulty in community engagement.
Yes, sir. Yes.
People, when they go for any community work, say they organize a camp, so whom to approach, where to approach, and how to approach. All these are challenges for them. And again, if they go, there are a lot of, like you mentioned, in the community itself, there are a lot of people who don't join with other groups. So within the groups, if you approach one group, the entire 4 or 5 groups will not come. And you have to be very careful before approaching anyone. You have to do a lot of homework, find out if are there any groups in the community, and what are the dynamics within the community, and what are various political parties and all those things. It's very difficult for them to teach in a classroom. So such things are like you. I think people like you who are very experienced in community work maybe can address on various these aspects. How to do community social work. Maybe that may be the next session if you have time. Maybe how to approach for community social work from basics. That can be a very good topic for the budding social workers, or for the social workers who are working in community. So you can share with your some experiences, what like a case study. What was the problem, and how did you approach? What are the problems you faced, and how you happen to solve it? Maybe that would be the greatest contribution. I mean, social work fraternity can get from the community social workers or grassroots level workers who have vast experience. So thank you, sir, once again for joining us and contributing to it. And we also look forward for your sessions even in future also.
Yes, sir.
Thank you once
Sir,
again.
for your information, sir, we host the students from different institutions like IRMA, XIMB, KSRM. A lot of students, they used to come as interns, and they do community engagement in our working areas. So that way, maybe far a place, Bangalore will be far. But if possible, then you can send also your students for that. But we are a very small organization, so we can't afford to pay their expenditure and all. But if it is the institution is bearing, then you can just send to, and we will groom them for 15 days, 1 month, 2 months, whatever it is. We will groom them, and they will get a very good exposure to the community and how community engagement works. So that is there. You can do that. Thank you, sir. For I liked your divine start and everything, sir. Everything I liked it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Uh, we once again thank you on behalf of Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute and Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing, and on behalf of all the participants as well. We thank you once again for joining us and contributing to the wonderful session.
Thank
Look
you. Thank you,
forward
sir.
for your sessions even in future and wishing you all the success.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And participants feedback form is being shared in the chat box. Kindly
I
fill
may
up this feedback.
I may leave now, sir.
Yes, sir. As per your convenience. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Participants, you can find the feedback link in the chat box. You can fill up the feedback form. It is mandatory for receiving the certificate. The certificate will be shared within 15 working days. There is little bit delay because of continuous programs, but don't worry, you will be getting receiving certificates. And kindly join this Telegram channel, Facebook group, because that's where you daily get updates for the various events. Those are happening and upcoming events, and also certificate download links. Because this is only central place where you get all the updates. Otherwise, you are if you are not joining, then you have to personally message me, or you have to find respective website. Almost every event has its own web page or website. So it might be difficult for you also to remember and to check. So it's better everyone join the Telegram channel and also the Facebook group, so that you will receive all the updates there. And as you all know, community social work is very important topic, where the actual social work has a greater role to be played. We are giving you time to fill up the feedback form. We are observing that some participants are texting me after the webinar has been ended. So we are not sharing feedback forms personally to, on WhatsApp or any other platform. So feedback forms will be only shared in the webinar platform only. So we are giving enough time also to you all. So make sure you all are filling the feedback form before leaving the webinar platform. So meeting will be on for next 5 minutes. Before that, everyone is requested to fill up the feedback form. And join us tomorrow at the same time with the same link with a different topic. And also this Sunday we have an very good international workshop, and also a webinar. Webinar come workshop that will provide you the skill development opportunity. That is, one workshop is there which is being organized as part of webinar. So you can prepare your CV live while interacting with the presenter speaker. So this is very important because CV is the gateway to career. So anywhere you want to apply for internship or a project or a job, you will be requiring CV, and CV has to be presented, planned in such a way that it should get you shortlisted, and it should get you further interviews and also employment opportunities. So that is one aspect of Sunday's webinar. And also we have another topic, that is life support systems. So we all know there are various in health and medical sciences and infrastructure. We have certain systems which can save health, life. So we are taking up few sessions on life-saving, life support systems, where even a common man also can help someone from death. So this is very important webinar. So the links for joining, registration will be shared in the Facebook group and Telegram channel. So kindly join the Telegram channel and also Facebook group. You can register and you can attend. These are very essential skills like life skills.